All right, outside the Rose Garden, where the President of the United States and Mariano Rajoy, the Prime Minister of Spain, will be taking questions from reporters. In the meantime, no doubt the President will get a couple of questions, at least, we hope, on the tax cuts, because it's certainly an issue that is near and dear to my next guest, Congressman Dave Brat of the fine state of Virginia, House Freedom Caucus, joining me right now. Last time we chatted, Congressman, you were concerned about some vital, conservative points being left out of this tax cut, or talk that it might be. You guys are not in this, or it seems the Freedom Caucus itself is not in these tax cut discussions. Does that bug you?
It's bugging me a little bit less. The word coming out right now is that we're looking to a pretty good morning tomorrow morning when they share the rates. My major concern was the S-Corp. We're starting to hear, maybe the corporate rate 20, the S-Corp's coming in at 25. In at least a fairly equitable way, and then a tax cut for the middle class. And then, of course, the whole impetus is economic growth and getting jobs and wages going up for everybody back home. And so this is different than health care. We're all working together. We're compromising. I think everyone's listening. Tomorrow will be the good news, and then we'll have a budget vote. And then the thing to watch out for is the swamp will come in like the Death Star, right, on full firepower.
Well, for example, the swamp is expected to come in, whatever you want to call it, sir, on this notion of easing back on the deductibility, of not removing it, of state and local taxes. And a lot of people in very high tax states like New York, California, Illinois, et cetera, they're not going to give that up easily. What do you say to them? How should the counter be from you?
Yeah, well, the counter is on net, everybody's going to be better off, right? So I'm seeing some of these numbers that people are deducting at the state level, and then that's the amount you deduct. It's got to go through the federal, which percent you get off.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's apples and oranges, right? And that's just the beginning, right? The swamp is all of K Street, all the lobbyists, all the cronies are going to come in, and that's where our leadership is going to have to stand firm. And so make sure to
Which
keep
leaders?
the heat.
Your leadership in the Freedom Caucus, or just Republican leaders in general?
No, Republican leaders. The Speaker, Mitch McConnell, the President. When everybody comes in and says, I want my piece of the pie, right, from my firm,
right.
and it's not in the best interest of the country as a whole, we got to stand firm.
Do you think this is going to be easier, Congressman, than health care? Because folks like Orrin Hatch, the Senate Finance Committee member, of course, has been saying, or Chairman, this might be more difficult, and this might be a next year event.
No, I hope not, and I don't want to hear any of that language. Most all the conservative groups are in favor of it. The American people are in favor of it. It's going to put about $2,000 a year back in their pockets, depending on what bracket they're in, and it's going to revive the economy. So you've been told all the rates are coming down? Yeah. No, I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised. And then, of course, once the special interests make their way in, we're going to run out of money if you don't get rid of the loopholes and special pieces, and then that's going to put pressure on rates, right? Rates are going to start to creep up from 20 to 22 to 25 to 27, and that's not acceptable, right? So that's where the American people have to hold us in check. You're the boss. We just represent you, and it's our job to get it right.
Do you know whether those rates will be retroactive? In other words, whatever you guys agree to would be retroactive at the beginning of the year? Or are we getting ahead of ourselves?
We're still waiting. You'll know by tomorrow, though. Midday, the details will be in.
All right. Now, the President had said, as you know, Congressman, there would be no rate cut for the well-to-do, that they would be left out here. It sounds like you're saying that they won't be left out, and that would, well, some would like that. Others will say, well, wait a minute, that's going to deny the President a chance of getting any Democratic votes. I don't know whether he would have gotten any anyway, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think your intuition is right. We weren't getting a whole lot of help on anything, right? We had some of the more moderate senators working on health care, trying to get some Democrats on moderate bills with zero effect, and they said as much yesterday in the news. Same on taxes. The key with the rich is it's not about income redistribution. It's about economic growth. We got to keep our eye on that prize. And so even if the rich don't get a reduction through the S-Corp and through the C-Corp, in effect, they're going to be put into a much better position, right? And so I think everybody's going to come out way better off, and that's the key to focus on. All
right, Congressman Brat, good seeing you again. Dave Brat from Virginia, the House Freedom Caucus, a very key instrumental player in this, particularly representing the conservative wing of the party, the so-called supply side wing of the party.